Hi, I'm Claudia Thompson and I work with product brand founders, so people running independent lifestyle, fashion, skincare, homeware, food and beauty businesses, so anything where you create a product, who have built something they are genuinely proud of, but find themselves spending more and more time on the day-to-day running of the business and the people stuff and less on the work they actually love. You started this business because you had a vision, a clear sense of what you wanted to create, who you wanted to create it for, and the standard it needed to meet. And somewhere along the way, as the team grew, that vision stopped traveling the way it used to. And today I'm going to share with you a 5-part framework for making sure your vision travels through your team to your customer consistently. And whether you're running a team of 8 or 20, these 5 things will make a real difference to how your brand is delivered, even when you're not there standing over it all the time. But why does vision even get stuck at the top? Because let's face it, when you're small, when you're a team of 3, 4, 5 people, everybody knows everything that's going on in the business. You overhear conversation, you find out what's happening. And most founders communicate their vision through proximity. So the first people joining your team, they'll just get it because they're around you all the time. They see how you communicate with customers. They hear you talking to suppliers. So while you're in the room and while you course correct in real time, everything's awesome. And that strategy works really well when you're a tiny team. But as soon as you grow beyond the people that can share an office or that makes the office too big, that strategy stops working. And in fact, 4 things usually happen when the team outgrows that, oh, we'll just listen to whatever the boss says strategy. The first problem is the vision never gets written down. So it just stays in your head, which means that yes, the people you originally hired, the first ones, they get it, but then you hire people who are there to assist the people that you worked with, and then you create distance between yourself and the vision, but you never between yourself, your vision, and the new people, and you never wrote it down, so it stays in your head. That will lead to standards becoming inconsistent because different people interpret things differently. The team, they wait to be told. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They're not quite sure. They don't want to make a mistake. So they just wait to be told what to do. And you end up in conversations that you shouldn't need to be in. And that is nobody's fault. It's just what happens when a business grows faster than its communication structures. Clarify the vision in words your team can use. A vision that lives only in your head cannot guide anyone else's behaviour. And don't worry, it doesn't need to be a long document. It doesn't need to be a specific format, but it needs to answer 3 questions. Number 1 is, what are we really selling and who is it for? And I mean really selling. It's not we sell product X. Is it self-confidence you're selling? Is it convenience you're selling? Is it values that you're selling? So what is it? What emotionally touchy-feely thing is it that you're selling? Second, how do we want people to feel when they're interacting with our brand? And number 3, what would we never do, even if it's easier and cheaper? So that last question is all about your values, your standards. What's an absolute no-go area? We would never touch it. And how do you start? Well, write down your 3 answers to those questions as if you were briefing a new team member on their first day. Keep it short, use your own words, not corporate buzzwords. Don't get ChatGPT to write it, or maybe do, but only after you did the bit. And then this becomes the reference point for everything that follows. But you've got to start somewhere. And translate your vision into team standards, because a vision without standards is just a nice poster on the wall. It's just an inspiration thing. But standards are what turns your vision into daily behavior. And a standard is specific. So it's not we care about the customer's experience, but something like every customer complaint, every customer email gets a personal response within 4 hours. Or not, we take pride in our product, but nothing leaves this building that we wouldn't be proud to put our name on. And once those standards are clear, team members can make the small daily calls themselves, and you no longer need to be involved. So they will know how to handle a difficult customer. They will know what tone to use in the newsletter. They will know when to order more stock, and they don't need to check with you first. Now, before you panic, if you are not comfortable with some of the decisions, that's a different question, but that will be their reference point to start to make their own decisions, to think on their own 2 feet. So how do you start? Pick one area that feels particularly inconsistent right now and write down what brilliant looks like in that area, or write down how you would do it in 1 or 2 sentences. And yes, that's fine. You're the founder, you're the boss. The way you do it, the way you would do it is probably the best way, because it's your brand, it's your baby. So write it down in 1 or 2 sentences and share it with the team or the relevant person and ask them to apply it for a month and then see how you go. Give people ownership and not just tasks, because there is a massive difference between being given a task and owning an outcome. Tasks get completed, but outcomes get actually cared about. So what does it actually look like in practice? For example, a warehouse manager owns the dispatch accuracy and not just the dispatch process. Or a customer service manager owns the customer experience and not just the ticket queue or the email list. Also, a sales lead owns the conversion and not just making the calls. So where do you start? You choose one role, reframe from a list of tasks to an outcome they own. So tell them what brilliant looks like and that you trust them. So you take one role and you think about what is the outcome I could give them to own. And then you agree a simple check-in rhythm to make sure nothing falls off the radar, which brings us very neatly to pillar number 4. Create regular communication rhythms. A vision doesn't stay alive on its own. It needs regular, intentional moments to keep it relevant. For me, that means 2 things in practice. Number 1, a weekly team meeting, scheduled for 30 minutes, not longer. We don't want a waffle fest. So it needs to be short, focused, with a clear agenda, and it ends on time. And in that meeting, we discuss as a team what went well, what didn't go well, what we're going to do differently, and probably most importantly, to ensure the vision is around, stays alive, gets communicated. If a customer had seen everything we did this week, what would they think about us? And that creates that space to surface issues and challenges, but it's not about solving them in the room, but to name them and then take them offline to the relevant people. Again, 30 minutes maximum. And the second thing for the regular communication rhythm, have monthly or quarterly, bi-monthly, whatever rhythm works for you, depending on the size of your team, with each team member or team lead. Again, it depends on the exact setup of your business. And this is not supposed to be a performance review, but this is a conversation. So ask them, how would you describe your role? how would you describe this brand? And whatever they say and the gap to what you would say, that is your answer. That is where the real work is in translating your vision into your team. So where do you start? You book the recurring team meeting for next week. Write a very simple agenda and then pick one person for a one-to-one this month and ask them to describe the brand in their own words. Reward vision-led behaviour. People repeat what gets noticed. If the only feedback that your team ever receives from you is when something goes wrong, they will just focus on avoiding mistakes. And on a side note, 79% of employees who leave a business cite a lack of appreciation as a key reason. So when you notice they've done something well and you celebrate the moment someone got it exactly right, just say so. Tell them you loved the way they handled the customer, just the way you would have, or they made a call that reflected the brand, or they solved a problem in a really good way without coming to you. And then they will do more of it. If you mention it, not only will they do more of it, but also the other team members will take note. And it doesn't need to be formal. It doesn't need to have a set format. Don't overthink this. Just a direct, that's exactly what our brand is about. In the moment is enough. So where do you start? This week, start looking for people doing it right. You might need to shift your focus from just spotting things where they get it wrong. Spot where they get it right and find one example of someone doing something that really reflects the vision, and then name it specifically and watch what happens. Your team want to get it right. In most cases, they're not falling short, they're not making mistakes because they don't care. But what they lack is clarity. They don't know about what exactly the vision is, what the standards look like, what they are trusted to handle. But once that clarity exists, the vision stops depending only on you to carry it. And your team will carry it with you and for you. So 5 pillars, not complicated, but they do require intention. So clarify the vision. What are we selling? What's the plan? Translate it into standards. What does it look like? Give people ownership. Let people own the outcome of their job and see how the work transforms. Create a regular communication rhythm to stay in touch with people and to potentially notice if things go off track, and recognize vision-led behavior. Say it out loud when somebody does something well. So if you're watching this and you're realizing that some pieces are missing, that's a good thing. That's a great thing, in fact, because then you know exactly where to start. So if you want help taking this first step, I've put together a free guide which is called Unlock Your Team's Potential: 5 Essential Steps to Transform Your Vision into Your Team's Mission. The link is in the description. Go grab it. And if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps. And I'll see you in the next one.